All right, get the latest development in legal headlines from a trusted source.
Molly Real is with our friends from Del Rio and Caraway to break it all down in another edition of Sidebar.
Good morning. Yes, it is time for this morning's Sidebar. We are at Del Rio and Caraway. Dan, Chuck, great to be here for your expert legal input. Now, the first topic we're talking about today from Colorado, 2 police officers charged with multiple felony and misdemeanor counts after their patrol car was hit with a woman handcuffed inside.
Yeah, so this is a tragic story, but it's not as tragic as it could be because fortunately she's in the back of the vehicle. She's been seriously injured, but as far as everything we're aware of now, she's lived and she's on the recovery for this. But what happened in this case is the police officers responded to a call where they heard that somebody was waving a weapon outside of a vehicle. Her vehicle fit the description of the one that they were looking for. And so they pulled her over, and then unfortunately their vehicle had stopped on the train tracks. They got out, they put her in their vehicle for their safety, and while they were searching her vehicle for weapons, and during that period of time, a train came and actually hit the police vehicle, severely injuring her. So what's happening in this case is you have 2 things. Right now there's criminal charges being brought against the police officers for attempted manslaughter, assault, and a few other things. But then you also have the secondary civil liability claim that this lady now has against the police officer. With regards to the criminal claims, apparently one of these police officers at their previous department had some things against him where they had endangered the public. And so as a result of that, you kind of have prior instances and you have the police department having kind of notice of these types of things. And honestly, it's not really that good for the police officers. With regards to the civil liability in this particular claim, police officers don't have a duty to the general public to keep them safe or anything, but in this particular circumstance, they've created what's called a special circumstance, which is they've detained this lady, and as a result of that, they placed her in peril by putting her in the vehicle on the train tracks. And so as a result of that, they now have to keep her safe. And when the train comes and it hits and it injures him, now the police officers are liable, and as a result, so is the police department. So she has a lawsuit against the police department and against these police officers. It does fall under the government tort claim, and in California, you have a special time that you have to file that, which is 6 months. It's a much shorter statute of limitations, but from the facts that I saw, it looks like she has a pretty good claim against them.
Okay, very interesting. Really a series of unfortunate events there. Now, Dan, the next story, it happened in our own backyard in Natomas. A man suspected of a DUI drove into a department store, injuring 5 people.
Yeah, this is another tragic one, and it kind of reminds you this is the holidays, don't drink and drive. So DUI can happen under generally 4 different categories. You can have a blood alcohol level above a 0.08. You can be under the influence of alcohol, which simply means that basically under field sobriety testing or something of that sort, you are not able to operate as you should be, and you're under the effect of alcohol and that's interfering with it. You can be under the influence of drugs, or you can simply be a minor that has any amount of alcohol in their system. In this case, they believe it was that they was under the influence of drugs. The individual actually drove without stopping, it's on video, straight into a department store and unfortunately injured, I think, about 4 or 5 people who had to be rushed off to the hospital. So it's obviously a criminal charge dealing with the DUI. There will be a civil liability issue, and with anything where you're dealing with alcohol and the potential thought process of the individual as to how much they consumed, did they know they were going to drive, things like that, there can't even be the issue of punitive damages potentially.
Okay.
So.
And yes, a great reminder to all of us to be especially careful during the holiday season. Thank you again for that insight from Del Rio and Caraway. That was this morning's Sidebar.